Today I'm going to talk about vector and bitmap. Let's get started. 1. What is vector? Vector graphics are independent of resolution, with each object being a mathematical expression, and most importantly a graphic type that can be resized to any size without losing detail. As you can see, no distortion occurs when the vector object is enlarged. 2. What is bitmap? A bitmap type is a type of graphic that, if it's to define a graphic, consists of pixels and dots that form the corresponding image and each contain color information. Briefly speaking of pixels, it is the smallest point that creates a bitmap image. Looking closely at the object below, it appears to be composed of pixels, and when it's enlarged, the image quality is lost. Pixels are side by side and colored spots coming from the lower data. The smallest unit of view is the combination of these units and digital images. One of the applications for creating such graphics is Photoshop. Pixels are used in photo and video recorders. The quality of your graph depends on the size, the graph, and the number of pixels. As the number of pixels increases, the graphics quality will increase. In graphics created with pixel, when the graph is imaged, the image quality is degraded. Vector graphics. There are digital graphs that are independent of resolution, do not consist of pixels, are side by side, can be resized without losing detail. Each object is mathematical expression. Since vector objects are redrawn when they are scaled, there is no distortion when we enlarge the graph. If we compare the two species, image quality deteriorates when pixel graphics are enlarged, but there is no distortion in the vector graphics. I think that's the most difference between the two species. Pixel-based graphics are better suited for drawing, and vector-based graphics are better suited for drawing and designing. We cannot use vector graphics directly on the web, but we can easily use bitmap graphics. Vector graphics take up less space than bitmap graphics as file size. It's easier to make detailed edits since there is a point-to-point intervention on pixel graphics. Why we use vector? Briefly, if the logo design created in pixel-based design programs is to be resized in the future, image quality may be deteriorated. Designs drawn in vector with Adobe Illustrator can be resized or reshaped at any time. This is the main reason why we use Adobe Illustrator, because the ability to quickly reproduce and use the designs without interfering with the designs in the formation or change or corporate identity is a feature that can be easily be preferred in today's conditions. Why we use bitmap? A bitmap type is a type of graphic that, if it is to define a graphic, consists of pixels and dots that form the corresponding image and each contain color information. Briefly speaking of pixels, if it is the smallest point that creates a bitmap image. Looking closely at the object below, it appears to be composed of pixels, and when it's enlarged, the image quality is lost. The advantages and disadvantages about vector and bitmap. 1. Vector advantages. Vector graphics can be easily be brought into the bitmap when needed. Vector graphics can be enlarged when requested, objects can be recolored, objects can be reshaped. The file size takes up less space. Vector disadvantages. You cannot visually produce photo quality in vector graphic works. You cannot use your vector graphic works on the web without converting them as bitmaps. Advantages of bitmap. Bitmap graphics can take millions of colors. Bitmap graphics can interfere with each of pixels. In this way, photographers or digital artists can retouch or manipulate photographs. Disadvantages of bitmap. When the bitmap graphic is raised higher than the resolution it has, the sharpness is lost and the image becomes distorted. At the same time, when the resolution is lowered, the original image is lost because the pixel is removed. Bitmap graphics do not contain layer information unless you count specific file formats. Therefore, editing is difficult compared to vector graphics. Bitmap graphics take up more space on the computer as file size than vector graphics. What is Photoshop? Photoshop is an image editor that you can shape your graphics and photos. It's the world's most popular program where you can adjust the color settings for any fixed image in the digital environment. Why we use Photoshop? The aim is to attract people's attention. Attention is a beautiful design and people should be the kind of shapes that will catch their eyes. Today graphic design programs are used. Photoshop is fully prepared for this. For example, we are designing a banner or logo. The logo we prepared with normal logo and the logo we prepared in Photoshop cannot be the one. The Photoshop gives very nice results. If you want to create and publish high quality, stylish, beautiful designs for this, Photoshop is an abundant resource. Are there any programs like Photoshop? Of course there are many programs like Photoshop, like CorelDRAW, PaintShop Pro and like this. But besides these, Photoshop is easier to use and more features have attracted everyone's interest. You can come up with very good things. It's time for talking about which program can we use for vector and bitmap. For vector, we can use Adobe Photoshop, Adobe InDesign, Adobe Illustrator. These programs help us to create a new logo and something like that. For bitmap, the BMP file format contains uncompressed data information that is valid for each pixel in the image. For example, a 10:10 BMP file will contain separate data for 100 pixels. BMP file format is generally preferred for high quality visual files because of the dense storage of data. The size of BMP files often reaches high sizes because there is intense data storage inside. Other popular visual extensions that we frequently encounter in daily computer usage are JPEG and GIF, at the same time a bitmap. But these file formats are much smaller due to compression algorithm used in these file formats. Because of differences in size, BMP files are used for more printable visual files, while file formats such as JPEG and GIF are used on the internet. So that's all about bitmap and vector. Thank you for listening to me. Goodbye!